For a recent college assignment, I was tasked with creating a level generation algorithm using Unity. And considering I have experience working with chunk generation and Berlin noise, I thought I would attempt to mimic Minecraft's terrain generation. To do this, I took a simplex noise generator and used it as a height map. I made sure to downscale it so I don't have 12 different Everests in a 5x5 chunk, and I populated the output into a 2D array. I then filled a 3-dimensional array with different block types, such that grass forms on the top layer, dictated by the height map, dirt forms anywhere below that, anything between the height map value at a given location and the water level is filled with water, and everything else is air. Next we need to fill the world. If I just place everything as is, Unity is going to lag and potentially crash due to how many objects I would be instantiating. So instead, we check to see if there's air next to the block before we place it. If there's no air next to a block, we're not going to see it, so there's no point in placing it. By not placing these blocks, we're saving resources. We do decide to place a block there, create a box, set its coordinates to the position we had, and then set its material based on the block type enum we defined. Well, there's a fair bit more we could do with this, like block populators for ores, trees, rivers, and paths, structure generation, additional shaping noise with alternate seeding, etc. Now, the reason I didn't really do any of that is because time and procrastination. I backed myself into a corner where I'm editing this a day before it's due, and I definitely don't have time to add anything else. I've already done this before. I'm still working on a version of this for a different project, and I think it's better to save that for work, and it can be released whenever that project is done. When it comes to difficulty in learning, I found that the array generator was pretty easy to put together. The instantiation was really only complicated when I decided to add the 3D printing effect, and that was only because for loops were being weird. For loops are not designed to limit the number of blocks you're placing per frame, unless you're doing the for loop for the number of blocks you're placing that frame. They're more intended for doing a bunch of stuff all at once, and I didn't plan for that because I wasn't planning on doing the 3D printer effect initially. So, as a result, I had to make my own for loop, essentially, which was kind of painful, and I didn't even realize that I would need to do this until I was already committed to doing the other method that I had thought up, and realized that it had failed. If you're going to take anything from this, don't write code mindlessly, unless you want to end up with a bunch of spaghetti.